love it.
Double time.
Cool. So thank you all for making the time to come to our info session. Let's go ahead and get started. So, Techtonica. Our mission is to help women and non-binary adults seeking economic empowerment overcome barriers into tech careers. And just some housekeeping. We're going to go over our code of conduct. Our code of conduct states that Techtonica is dedicated to providing a safe, inclusive, welcoming, and harassment-free space and experience for all members and guests, regardless of gender identity and expression, sexual orientation, disability, physical appearance, socioeconomic status, body size, ethnicity, nationality, level of experience, age, or religion, or lack thereof. Our code of conduct exists because of that dedication. We do not tolerate harassment in any form, and we prioritize marginalized people's safety over privileged people's comfort. Our full code of conduct can be found at techtonica.org/conduct. Cool. So first things first, just to kick off this session, please edit your Zoom name to include your pronouns. Please keep your mute on while others are speaking, and feel free to turn on your cameras. Also, share in the chat why you're interested in software engineering and specifically Techtonica. We're also going to record this, and we're also going to take a screenshot of the group afterwards. Please keep in mind that the information that we talk about today is subject to change, so do keep a close eye out on our website. That's where we'll post any changes. And also this session will be recorded and will be shared on our YouTube.
Yes, and before we continue, don't passively sit on this call. We want to see your faces. We want y'all to ask questions at the end. So come on camera. Enjoy the space with us, y'all. Come on now.
Yeah.
And add your pronouns. We want to honor that.
Yes. So, to start off, our CEO is Michelle Glauser. I don't think Michelle's on the call, but there she is. She's our CEO. You'll see her on other calls, and also when you get accepted to the program, you'll see her a lot. And then we have Daiba.
Hey, y'all. I have journeyed across the Techtonica ecosystem as a participant, as an alumni board member, as a mentor program manager. Now I am the software training engineering manager, which you might hear us call STEM. I used to work at SurveyMonkey. I volunteered across Code Tenderloin in San Francisco. Led some foundational classes in my hometown, worked with Hack the Hood as a tech curriculum lead. So I really am passionate about bringing coding fundamentals to people opportunistically and making sure that we bridge that tech divide. I am so happy to be able to bring all those nonprofit roots that I had and join them with my technical skills. And then just fun fact, I'm a mama of two. I got two pups, two really big pups. I'm a Bay Area native and I reside in the North Bay.
Yay. Next is me. I'm Gabby. I'm your technical associate program manager. I was also in the program. I graduated from Techtonica in 2020. Afterwards, I worked at Bitwise, and I've worked at a bunch of different startups since. Me and my friends and I created a random startup once as well, and that could not have happened without the training and everything I received through Techtonica, so that was super cool. Outside of tech, I like being outside. I like kayaking. I like swimming. I'm a big foodie. If you know any good curly fries spots, let me know. I love curly fries. And yeah, I reside in San Diego, and I'm an LA native. Next, we have Bree. They're our technical assistant. They're not on this call, but you'll see them day to day, either leading programming, pair programming sessions, code sessions. They're also a graduate of the program. So now into the program. That was a sudden shift, but back to the program, full-time program. So this is a 5 to 6 month program of virtual full-time learning. We'll usually have a cohort of 10 to 20 people, 10 to 20 participants. We have a limited amount of stipends and laptops available. And in some cases, we will have 6 months of job search or placement with community support. Daima, is there any other details we should mention about the job search support for this upcoming cohort?
Yes, I want to highlight that we also have other programming for our graduates that go through the program. So not everybody is guaranteed a placement. That is a cold, hard fact. But we like to make sure that we are connecting our graduates to our community and our opportunities. So we have something called Techtonica Consulting, where maybe our partners, they can't give a full placement of 6 months, but maybe they got a little project that they can work on. So they get a stipend that way. They get some real world experience building out something for that amount of time, and they get the paid experience too. So our job searching graduates that are qualified, that have the technical skill set that match with that project, they get to work on those projects. We also have our Seeker program. So our job searching graduates that specifically are on the hustle to interview and showcase their project building skill set. We kind of have a mini guided boot camp specifically to make sure that they're honing those skills. So very similar to the structured nature of the full-time program, but it's part-time, and we specifically focus on like interviewing and whatnot. I also want to call out just the community that you have access to once you're a graduate. Like you get access to the whole Slack ecosystem, and then all these people, hundreds of people, volunteers, professionals, board members that are so accessible, and they're just like ready to go, ready to be on your team, in your corner. They already know all the hard work that you put into everything, and they're just like, what do you need? So that's nice as well.
Super good. So our target audience, we are looking for applicants of underrepresented backgrounds. So Black, Latinx, and Indigenous women and non-binary adults. There is no age cutoff. We are trying to help these folks who are seeking economic empowerment. And also the people who are most in danger of displacement and are most underrepresented in tech. We have also adopted a tuition-based model that is need-based sliding scale, subsidized tuition and stipend scholarships to enable the program to serve more participants, in addition to continuing to seek sponsorships. So when considering how to arrive at a tuition amount, we considered the cost of other programs that are similar to what we do. So Hackbright, for example, their cost is $1,075 per week. General Assembly is at $2,183 a week. We arrived at the subsidized cost of $18,000 or $1,000 a week. At present, 90 to 95 of past applicants would have been eligible for these need-based sliding scale tuitions and stipend scholarships with today's model. The needs-based sliding scale subsidized tuition that we have, it considers if the applicant has $18,000 beyond 10 months of living costs. So eligible applicants are able to apply for partial or full scholarships to assist with the subsidized tuition costs. Basically, we'll look at how much your monthly costs are and how long you can afford them and place you on a scale that could mean paying full tuition, receiving partial tuition scholarships, or receiving a full tuition scholarship. So it'll pretty much be a case-by-case basis. And once you are in the process of it, there will be more conversations and more meetings regarding how much this would cost you. Let's see. So our community impact, if companies invest in junior talent and stop bringing in new talent and poaching seniors, they can help alleviate displacement and income disparity. So our application process, usually this program will run twice a year. So we have April through May when the application opens up, or September to October, which is where we are at now. You will have to complete the JavaScript 113 exercises prerequisites with the study groups. If you're curious about where these 113 exercises are, they are on our website under the apply section. We also have the short interest form, which is the first part of the application. Then we have the long, which will lead to the long application. So after you complete the short interest form, that Google form will lead you to a link that will be the long application. Both of those need to be completed. You don't have to wait to complete the short interest form to complete those exercises. Those could be done as long as you get them done before you submit the long application. We also have Tuesday evening JavaScript study groups, at least one of them. We highly recommend that you attend. We also have mandatory application workshops. And we also, after you complete that process, you'll move on to one-on-one pairings with staff. Then you will get a take-home code challenge. Afterwards, that will lead to your staff interviews, then board interviews, and then a financial aid conversation will take place. And we'll get to the actual dates for all of these in the next few slides. Also, thank you, Daima, for posting the free code camp link in the chat. That's where the problems are. So after you get accepted, we work through the agreements and stipend paperwork. We will distribute the MacBooks if that is something that was decided on. On onboarding day, you will get to know the cohort. You will get matched with your mentor. We will also do individual and group pictures. You will also work on your personal pitch. Super important to work on your personal pitch. You can craft that with your mentor or with your cohort mates. Very useful to have it on the go, especially when you're networking and going to events and stuff. You'll also get started on your pre-work, which gets distributed 2 weeks before the start date. And that's approximately 10 to 20 hours per week. So some dates to remember. The long application deadline, the one that you will see after you complete the short application, is due October 15th at 12 p.m. Pacific at noon. We have our study groups. We have one next week on the 8th that runs from 6 to 8 p.m. and one the week after that, October 15th from 6 to 8. You have to attend at least one study group after you finish the short form. Very, very important. That is a requirement. You also have to attend one, and once you are invited and you complete the long form, you'll be invited to a mandatory application workshop, and those takes place October 29th and October 30th. Those will be set up in 2 different kind of like times to accommodate people's time zones. So we have one from 3 to 6 p.m. Pacific, and then another one from 6 to 9 Pacific. Some more dates to remember. Once you are past that stage, you will be invited to a pair programming session with staff that takes place around November 4th to November 8th. And then 48 hours after your pair programming session, you will be given a take-home code challenge. And then after that, we have staff and board interviews, which take place November 18th to the 22nd. You will receive an acceptance email December 5th. And if you are accepted, the mandatory onboarding day is December 12th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Pacific. And your pre-work will begin December 13th, with some study sessions sprinkled in December 16th and December 18th to help with that. Those study sessions are really cool to get acquainted with your cohort mates and also get any questions answered. So that's super cool. So it's good to keep these dates in mind so you can mark your calendars and just kind of get an idea of what days are important and just kind of like reserve those days for these important sessions. So Because our application process takes a while, we start the process before decisions about how many people we can support in a cohort, and sometimes even if there will even be a cohort made. So the length of the 2025 H1 cohort will be announced mid-October. And please just remember that the dates and information in this session are subject to change. So please keep an eye out on our apply page. Changes will be posted there. And yeah, basically we try to make sure to arrange the details for these before we have anything like set in stone. So do keep a close eye on our website's apply page. So the JavaScript prerequisite free code camp, first 113 lessons about basic JavaScript. Daima has posted a link to those in the chat. Do start on these before the deadline comes up. And once you are done with those, you are going to want to upload a screenshot of what you have completed to the application form. Basically, you can use a couple different ways to screenshot it. There's like blip shot. There's a couple Chrome extensions that'll allow you to take a screenshot of something really long. But we need that screenshot in order to know that you went through all of the questions. So be ready. It will take around 4 to 12 hours. So make sure you start way before the deadline. And if you stumble upon anything that's confusing, or you want to, discuss these questions with anyone, we do have study groups every Tuesday. So our study groups are going until October 15th. So do know that that is a requirement. And also it's a great place to get your questions answered and a great place to discuss with your potential future cohort mates. So characteristics we seek for successful applicants. So there's a couple things we look for in potential applicants. The participants we select show these characteristics pretty consistently. So we have vulnerability and resilience, autonomy, coachability, positivity and adaptability, collaboration, curiosity, and logic. So for vulnerability and resilience, we know that the idea of maybe switching careers or diving into something completely new can be pretty big and scary. We're aware of that. We've also been in your shoes. It's really important to become comfortable with being uncomfortable, especially in this program and in this sort of, job force. Autonomy is really important as well. This is a semi-guided program, and you are given a list of tasks to complete every day, and we expect you to have the autonomy to do these things without being asked. So autonomy doesn't mean that I could do whatever I want. It basically just means that I'm going to do what is expected for the day without someone having to like remind me or having to like bug you to complete something. Coachability is really important as well. You'll get lots of feedback throughout this program. Being able to take that feedback and implement it in a professional manner is a cornerstone of success in this program. There's also possibility and adaptability. This program and learning environment will be different than anything you have experienced before. So it's really important that you take each day with a positive growth mindset. Just because you don't understand a specific JavaScript topic or something that you'll be learning in this moment doesn't mean that you'll never learn it. So it's okay to, be positive and have a growth mindset throughout this whole process. Collaboration, you will work every day in randomly assigned groups. So pretty much keeping in mind that software development is very much a team sport. It's really important that you're able to communicate, help, and get along with all types of people to create a safe and successful learning environment. And also, curiosity is pretty important. The tech world is pretty big and it's growing and it's changing every day. Like technology that was popular when I started the program is not as popular nowadays. And so being curious about, this kind of field changing all the time is really, really important. And also logic. Logic's important. We don't expect you to think like a computer right now. But with our help and lots of practice, the goal is to come out of this program being able to structure programs in a logical way. So we look to see that future participants have these characteristics, but also we hope to nourish and grow these characteristics as well. So our program overview. Basically, you will have 2 months of a learning technology sessions, 1.5 months of practicing with weekly projects, 1 month for your final project, and then you'll have a job search preparation and soft skills training throughout. Day to day, you're looking at 8 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. There will be variations in the day for meetings with staff, launch celebrations, graduations, org-wide meetings, workshops, and all of this takes place Monday through Friday. There's also project-based collaborative learning of full stack JavaScript using React and Node. There's also events with mentors and volunteers. We also provide learning resources and skills to find your own resources. We also have knowledge checks, mock interviews, and daily technical quizzes. We also have interview practice, and that starts week 2 of the program. So our daily routine, you will have stand up, and that will be led by a day lead. Then you'll have a code challenge. Then you will work alone or with your pair group. You will have check-ins with staff, pair programming sessions towards the end of the day. Then a wrap-up session, and then you will have a mentoring session. The mentoring sessions that you will have will be determined by you and your mentor, like what time makes sense for both of you. So keep that in mind. So also each day there's a new participant that takes on their leadership skills. So that's the day lead. You will have a chance to be the day lead. It's like on a rotating schedule. You will basically lead the day for all the participants. The code challenges are Tuesday through Thursday, and your pair programming sessions are Monday through Thursday. And this is more of like a detailed breakdown of your day schedule. Do keep in mind that these hours are Pacific time hours. You are expected to attend all the meetings from your computer. During the rest of the time, you are expected to be reachable, but there is some flexibility for things you can't avoid during this program. Like if you have to like pick up your kids from school, or you need to go to the doctors or something like that. The key is communication here. It's really important, and we expect you to be available during these hours. So this is kind of a schedule that we have. So from 8 to 8:45, we have stand up. From 8:45 to 9:15, you can work on your code challenge, or you can partner up with someone and work on those code challenges together. From 8:15 to 8:45, we have a group code challenge review. So you will see a code challenge broken down with a staff member. You can have the opportunity to share your solution or ask questions during this time. And then from 9:45 to 3, you kind of have your own time to figure out what you want to learn, what tasks you want to finish. From 3 to 4, you have your pair programming practice. Similar idea here, you will have the opportunity to go over a bigger kind of code challenge. There will be a staff member there, and it's a great opportunity to ask questions, see what other solutions are, and collaborate. And then from 4 to 5, we have our wrap-up session, which is basically a wrap-up of the day. Usually there's some announcements and going over that day's code challenge or the daily quiz. So moving on to mentoring. So what is a mentor? You will be given a mentor, and they are not there to be an instructor. They're more of like an industry guide. They is like they're there to be like an occasional technical resource. They are basically an added layer of someone who can be in your corner and help encourage you and help you think like a developer. And you will be paired and given more information on your mentor on the onboarding day. So some things to consider. You can be removed from the program at any time based on any of these items. So attendance, based on collaboration, giving, receiving, and implementing feedback to and from staff and peers, focus, attention, and engagement during meetings, your ability to keep up with curriculum, weekly knowledge checks and technical questions, and your openness with self and staff about how you're doing and what you need. Do keep in mind you need to have a cumulative score in the program above 3.5. We'll talk a little bit more about what this score means in the next few slides. But there are potential financial consequences for quitting or being cut from the program. So make sure you read through the agreement and you are ready to commit to this long-term career path. If you complete the entire program, or if we are unable to find you a placement, you do not need to pay anything back.
And to be extra clear about removal statement, if you are not doing those things on the bullets, then we'll usually point them out. And if you're still not doing those things after we talk to you, then we have like a process in place to kind of let you know, like, hey, more seriously, we need you to adhere to these. If you're still not doing things, then there's an offboarding process. And offboarding isn't always a negative thing. Maybe you just got stuff going on in your life that's affecting your ability to be consistent about these things. So just wanted to clarify that.
And this isn't something that happens from one day to another. You will have regular one-on-ones. And so these things will be communicated pretty often. And there will be a lot of opportunities for improvement. So more things to consider. We do not have traditional lectures. This is very much like an intrinsically motivated program. You're gonna have to motivate yourself. You're gonna have to follow the rules. There are many times throughout the week where you will be pair programming with other people, and you need to do the assignments honestly and do your best, and to the best of your abilities without guidance. Collaboration is key here. There's also a very strong connection between those who do well in the program, and those who are open with their feelings and are able to communicate about what's going on. We won't always know what's going on, at home, emotionally, physically, or mentally. So we definitely invite you to have those difficult conversations with us, and it will better guide us on how to move forward and assist you in this program. There's a lot of things in this program that'll put you out of your comfort zone. So being comfortable with being uncomfortable is really, really important. Not just like this programming question's very difficult, it makes me uncomfortable, but just like, being okay with that feeling. Another thing we want to touch upon is our cumulative score. So each assignment, such as the knowledge checks, the weekly projects, or the code challenges, and also core skills interviews that we have, all of that will be graded on a 4-point scale. So each assignment has requirements or prompts that will be evaluated. And each individual task will be rated on a 4-point scale. And then an average will be taken of your overall performance on that assignment. And over the course of the program, you're going to develop a non-technical and technical average, as well as a cumulative score rating. We collect this data to inform us if there are specific trends in your comprehension and your assignment performance. You'll be told in your one-on-one with staff if you are on track for graduation or if there are areas of needed improvement. Staff will work with you on areas of needed improvement via pairing. We can also create a catch-up plan or figure out other arrangements. But we do want to highlight that it is your responsibility to be communicative with the program staff about your bandwidth, and always offer further explanation if it's needed or if you need any additional support. It's also possible that your cumulative score will be used in place of placement sponsor ratings of sponsor ratings basically in the event that a specific sponsor isn't interviewing. What this means is that when you get done with your final projects, if there are placements at a non-interviewing sponsor, the highest cumulative rating will be used to select participants going into placements. So those participants will then rate the offered roles, and an algorithm will place each selected participant to a role based on correlation. So there will be more information on the matching process on the later half of the program. But basically your cumulative score is really, really important. Again, it not only lets us know where you're at, but also will be a determining factor on whether you will be placed with a specific sponsor. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Aima, to this one?
It also lets us know where you need help. So along the way, every little piece of all the awesome work that you do is it has data attached to it. And so if one week we see maybe your data was a bit on the lower end and you also had all these crazy things going on with life, but you didn't communicate it. I'm gonna ask you about it in your one-on-one. We're gonna get real. We're gonna have real talk, okay? So we can figure out what's going on. If it's a comprehension thing, if it's a bandwidth thing, if we should have had candid discussions about priorities for that week. And so that's why it's really, really important to be open and honest about what's going on.
Yeah. Another thing, limited stipends. So not everyone will receive a stipend. At these financial conversations, which will determine if you qualify for needs-based sliding scale tuition or stipend scholarships, will be the last step of the application process. Also, need for a stipend is not taken into consideration for program acceptance. We also have limited placements. So the program and stipends are funded by sponsored companies, and those sponsored companies agree to offer a 6-month paid placements to our graduates. Placements can be internships, they could be apprenticeships, they could be regular employment, and any placements that start within a month of graduation, and in the past they have paid at least $40 an hour. Historically, about 75% of placed graduates are converted to full-time employees or have contracts extended at the end of their 6-month placements. We are working on securing placements for the next cohort, but there's no guarantee that we'll find any. So I don't see any extra questions in the chat, but here are some common application questions. References will be contacted a couple of weeks after the application deadline. We will send your references a link to a Google form, and email references will not be read. You will be informed via email if you made it to the next round of the application within a week of the deadline for each portion. You can also see the dates that we had in the previous slides. The sign up for study groups can be found on our Eventbrite page at techtonica.eventbrite.com. If the income calculator does not account for the number of dependents you have, please see the difference in the amount from the second to last number of dependents to the last, then add that much for each additional dependent. Please put any explanations and math you did in the portion of the application that asks for any additional details. And also, if you have any questions regarding the income calculator, please email info@techtonica.com and we can answer any of those questions if they do come up. It is strongly recommended to make a copy of the questions and answer them in a doc before filling out the form. So sometimes what will happen is people are filling out the form, their computer window refreshes or it turns off, it runs out of battery. and they lose all the stuff that they were typing. So a pro tip is highlight all of the questions, put them in a different document and write all of your answers in there, and then copy paste them back, just so that you don't lose all your work, because that has happened in the past. Some things to consider. Don't feel discouraged if you don't get in the first time. Keep learning and feel free to apply again. There's like a max 3 times that you could apply, and it's a very competitive program. So the acceptance rate for Techtonica is lowering down from 8%. And do keep in mind the new cohorts start in January and July. So don't feel discouraged, keep learning, and feel free to apply again. Cool. Personalized support needs communication. We always want to help you. Please communicate with us if you have any situation that you have right now or during the program. The best thing to do is to let us know as soon as possible. We can always brainstorm solutions and meet you where you're at in order to achieve your goals. We've had applicants in our program, lose housing randomly. We've had applicants break a laptop halfway through, become pregnant, face abuse. Even now when we have all of these hurricanes and weather anomalies happening, as long as we get communication from you, we will always find a way to figure out how to support you. And yeah, let's figure out what will work best in your situation. So now's our chance to do a group screenshot. I will stop sharing.
Okay, y'all. Time to come on camera. Put those beautiful smiles on, Show us those faces.
Cool. We'll do a picture in 1, 2, 3. Cool. We'll do another one. 1, 2, 3. Oh my gosh, I love that. We could do a silly one even if y'all want to join. Silly one. 1, 2, 3. I love it. Cool, cool, cool. Oh, I see we have a question. Are there any references or things we can refer to improve our chances of getting into the program? Daima, do you have any references or things? I think we went over the characteristics that we look for.
Yes, so some participants have sprinkled things over the years, their tips about getting in. I think I wrote like a how to survive Techtonica. I think I've seen like 2 or 3 videos, one on like TikTok, another one on, oh gosh, actually, I think that was an article. So another article about how to do the application process. It would be really cool of y'all if you could get into the Slack ecosystem, and then you'll just be able to do a quick search and find those links. Or you could just do a Google search, okay? Techtonica application process and find them. Yeah. Also come to the JavaScript study sessions. That's where you get
Yes,
all the
please.
tea. That's where you get
Yes. It's true. Cool. So we did our group screenshot. Some more notes about questions. We want to make sure that you come into this application process and program fully understanding what you signed up for. So at the end of the presentation, we will have time for questions. And also feel free to put questions in the chat. We will answer those as well. We'll answer any clarifying questions you have about the content from either the presentation or the website, but to respect everyone's time, please avoid questions that are fully answered in this event or on the website. Questions that only apply to you or questions that aren't really questions. And also, if you're not sure, info@techtonica.org is our email as well. So if there's any questions you're not comfortable talking out loud about, that email is always available, and we'll be able to answer those questions for you. So, questions for us. Do we have any questions? Feel free to come off mute.
I do have a question. On the application and on what you guys are saying was to complete the basic pre-code cam for Java. The link that was sent in the chat was for the legacy. So are we supposed to do both the legacy and the basic before the application deadline?
Legacy, 113 of the legacy. All of the links should be linking to that option.
Okay, thank you.
Great question. I just put it in the chat as well in case anyone wanted to see that.
I have a question.
Mhm.
What kind of things are worked on in class and what's been the most challenging that you all have encountered?
Interesting. Daima, do you have any?
Yeah, so we take it from the top. We take it from understanding what an array is, understanding what a variable is, all the way over to working with databases, implementing artificial intelligence features. So you're getting a full array, a full stack development. You're not just doing front end, you're not just doing back end, you're getting a breadth during the entire 5-month build. If your program ends up being, or your cohort ends up being 6 months, then you'll just have an added benefit of preparing for going into the industry. So maybe you want to dip your toe in Python, or maybe you really enjoyed implementing artificial intelligence. So you have that structured guidance of being able to do that for an extra month. But you get everything. You get exposed to a lot during the 5 months.
Awesome, thank you.
I have a question. Do you guys have like the percentages of like how successful it is after the entire program and with job placement and everything? Like how, I guess many of your people who go through the cohort and stuff like that get placed successfully with a job?
Yes. So our people that are going into placement, of those people, about 70 to 85% of those people are actually converting, or being extended. So conversion and extender are a little different. They go into whatever role it is, typically as a contracted person, unless they're like super stellar and the organization's like, no, let's hire them. So they'll go in as a contract for 6 months. And then the organization will say, oh, yeah, they rocked our socks. Let's go ahead and extend that contract for another 6 months, or whatever it is that they work out. Or they'll say, no, you're a part of the family. Let's go ahead and make you full-time employee. And so those numbers are at the 70, 85. Don't be shy, y'all. Y'all got us for the rest of the session, okay? Ask the questions. And there are no dumb questions. I don't want to hear anybody say that.
How much experience, like prior experience, would you say a person would need to be able to get into accepted into the program?
The 113 questions. Like I said, we're going to take you from the top. You're going to have a very robust pre-work that's going to get everybody coming in on day one at the same foundational level. And then we're going to take you the first 8 weeks, just making sure that you really understand that foundation.
Thank you.
When I went in the program, my experience was MySpace, tricking out the website.
Oh my God, that's funny. Oh.
So
Okay, so we're supposed to do the legacy one or the other one?
Legacy. Do the legacy.
So on the application, it said to submit the basic one. So I believe we submitted the basic one. So for the legacy one, do we just send you guys an email to follow up with it, or do you guys want a new application?
Are you talking about the long application? Is that what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
so in the long application, I submitted the screenshot for the basic one because that's what it asked for. So for the legacy, do we just email it to you guys?
Yeah, email us the screenshot. Go ahead and say, Daima sent you.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
I think really in earnest, the difference is just a few problems. I think there's like 10 less problems. So it's basically the same. But because we have a process, the process comes along with the legacy. Gabby, can you make a note to
Yes,
make sure to
update.
update that?
Yeah.
Thank you. Look, y'all are already doing the work. You're already calling out the pieces of the program that can be improved. Look at y'all.
Oh yeah. Do you is the curriculum actually up to date?
What do you mean by that question? Because that could be interpreted so many different ways. I tried.
Oh yeah. Okay. I meant like I mean, okay, up to date is probably not. Oh, technology and up to date have, yeah, that's kind of a misnomer. But uh, I meant like, could we, for example, work ahead on the curriculum?
Ah, you could potentially. However, you will hear me constantly saying in the program, don't work ahead because
Oops.
it is so fast paced and you're learning so much day to day. There's really no reason to lurk ahead. You're going to give yourself way too much overwhelm. And each day to day is already information overload. And you also have the things that you're building and really focusing on. And so you want to give yourself the opportunity to spend time, as much time as you can, with each of those concepts, and then also implement that instead of rushing through. Because you rush through, you're not going to show your best self.
No, you're gonna miss. Oh, and I had another question. When I go through the website, it says somewhere, oh God, I think it's on the criteria page or something, but it says that uh we white people have to be willing to do anti-racist work or something. Okay, what exactly does that look like?
Yeah, so you heard our mission, right? We don't compromise the experience of those that are underserved and other people that are in the people that we are looking to minimize marginalization for. And so because of that work, we want to make sure that you're coming in with the appropriate mind, that you understand experiences, those around you, and that you are aligned with that mission. So you'll be given some resources to kind of peruse through, to read, some videos to watch, to get you up to speed.
Uh, and how I suppose how the role of intersectionality would be covered in within said resources, yeah?
Yes, as well as throughout the program.
Pardon?
Yes, intersectionality as well as other core skills will be covered in those resources as well as throughout the program.
Okay. I just wondered if I needed to, I don't know, to demonstrate, like if there's a project that I need to undertake that goes with that, or
I think your day-to-day participation in the program will demonstrate that.
okay, yeah, but that's what I wanted to be sure of. Hey, I just wasn't sure if that meant that we were all right, supposed to do our own. Okay, in an ideal world, everybody who comes from, say, a more privileged background would do said work, okay? But come on. Like it would be integrated, but unfortunately we don't live in the real world, or we don't live in an ideal world like that. So I wanted to know more about what that would look like, um as far as getting into the program, that kind of thing.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's why I say come to JavaScript study groups, because it is basically a precursor to the program. You get to work with the program staff. Hey, and we're teaching same way that we would teach you in the program.
Yes,
And
I
let me retract the word teach. We have knowledge share sessions because we're
there we
not
go.
teaching you.
Mm-hmm.
Elizabeth, you got some great feedback and input. I do want to jump into the chat and make sure that we're hearing from a wide array of people so we can come back to you. I
Oh
see.
yeah. Hey, everybody, what? No. I'm not trying to monopolize anybody's time here. Oh,
Thank you, Elizabeth. I see in the chat, favorite blogs or resources for continuous learning. What does continuous learning look like for y'all today? Ooh, we got you. We got all the resources. Sometimes you won't even be able to get to all the resources that we hand you. So, continuous learning is learning in the way that works for you. Maybe you were handing off building of projects and you like to watch videos. Do a little bit of both of that. Maybe you like to read articles. Insert that in there. We're going to hand off some videos and articles. Maybe it means that, you pair with somebody and you do something live. Continuous learning is what you let us know it is for you. And we give you a plethora of resources to help you work that out. So that continuous conversation during your one-on-ones is really important. We have people that learn lots of different ways, spicy brain people, normal brain people. And so we try to accommodate to make sure that your experience in the program is what it needs to be for you to be the most successful. I also see, do you work with any other partners that regularly offer placement to cohorts? Yes. In the past few years, Sony has been a really big partner, Sony PlayStation. So this cohort, they gave us 5 placements. Before the cohort started, I want to say we placed 5 graduates. So they were like, we don't want to wait for an entire cohort. Do you have any job seeking graduates? And we were like, yeah. So they had to kind of go build some projects to show us that they were ready. And yeah, and then they got the roles. So yeah, Sony is a big champion. We also have had other people like Stack Overflow, Indeed, and small startups like Pantheon and other places too. How many tries did it take for you to get into the program? Jessica, I was hustling when it came to my application. I was grilling the heck out of people. I was showing up at every angle, emailing. I was like, they probably were annoyed at me. So, well, not annoyed, but I was just like really working every angle. So I understood the application process and really understood if it was the right time for me to apply or not. Everyone can apply up to 3 times. Some people get in the first time, some people get in the second time, some people get in the third time. Yeah. And if you don't get in at all, heck, you can still be a part of the pre-applicants community and still network. The people that you go through the application process are just as important to your network and your journey learning as people that you go through the cohort with, because ultimately we're all looking out for the same angle, right? We all want to be software engineers in the tech industry, changing our lives, changing the industry. And so leverage those relationships, build those relationships. Techtonica is just one step in that career stepping stone path. It's just one step, okay? It is not the career. It is just this little pebble.
I see we have another question. Does the program offer resources or guidance in figuring out what avenue industry one would work best in? So in our curriculum, and I've commented it there as well, we have a section in our careers folder. And within that, we have a roles in tech folder where we have different resources for different kind of branches of tech, like data science, product management, machine learning, entrepreneurship. And all of this is open source, so anyone can go in and read them. But we do have time during the cohort where you could look through these. Sometimes we have guest speakers who aren't like regular, web developers. In my cohort, we've had product managers, product designers come in and talk. We've had startup founders come and talk about networking and stuff like that. So there's definitely a lot of opportunities peppered in throughout the program to get acquainted with and exposed to different types of areas in tech.
We also have talks. So we have scheduled blocks during the week. We also have recordings of past talks. So like if we didn't get a data scientist, which would be very interesting to not get a data scientist the whole 5 months, but if we didn't, we got videos for that. Yeah, we got lots of videos. Lots of videos. We got another question in the channel or the chat. I'm mixing up tools. Can an applicant join Techtonica Slack ecosystem? You'll be invited to the pre-applicant channel. So you won't have access to the entire Techtonica ecosystem until you are a graduate. And even as you are part of the cohort, you have very limited access. And we do that purposefully to make sure that you are focused on learning and not focused on everything else that there is. So pre-applicants and applicants channel, network with everybody there. There's people who aren't on this call with you that have been a part of the Techtonica pre-applicant channel for years. And that's both graduates and non-graduates.
What was your placement look like, both of you, I guess? What was the transition like from going from the cohort to the placement for you guys?
Sure, I could talk about mine. So I actually wasn't placed with any partner. My cohort was during 2020, and a lot of our partners pulled out during that crazy time. And so at the time, the process was we would interview and we would grade and rank the sponsors that we interviewed with. I think at the time there's only 2 or 3. So there was very limited space. So before the pandemic actually happened, I attended a conference called Tech Intersections that used to take place in Mills College in Oakland. And I networked there. I was like, I'm new to software development. I'm trying this out. And I tried to make as many friends, added a bunch of people on LinkedIn. And so when a job posting popped up around the end of the cohort time, and the person who posted it was someone that was like a degree separated from another person that I had met at the conference. I messaged right away. I was like, hey, here's my resume. I participated in Techtonica. I submitted my application with the, interview prep that Techtonica gave me. I think that really, really helped in giving me the confidence and, the competence to do well in that interview and get myself my own placement. But yeah, that was kind of my path.
Yeah, so I did go into placement. And y'all, let me tell you, I was nervous. I was a nervous wreck because I was like transitioning into housing. I had like a little 3-month-old. How old was my daughter? 3, or I don't know. She was in grade school. And so it was crazy. I was like, I have to get placement. I have to get placement. So I worked my butt off and I ended up getting placed with SurveyMonkey. And we did the same thing similarly, Gabby. We interviewed them, they interviewed us, they asked us questions about our project, we asked them questions about the company. We all rated each other, so we got to rate the sponsors rated us, and then that went through an algorithm process, very similar to how things operate now. my internship was only 3 months. So it was not 6 months. So I had to work my butt, y'all. I had to schmooze and connect with people. And I say schmooze because I'm very introverted. I know y'all can't tell. Anyways, I'm very, very introverted. So I was like, I connect with people and use my energy and all that jazz. But I did it, made sure to connect with a wide array of people at the company. I also asked lots and lots and lots of questions. The interesting thing about tech is, like, Western society teaches you, if you ask questions, like, it's perceived as weak. And tech is the opposite, y'all. You need to ask the questions. In fact, your manager will be like, why aren't you asking questions? So ask the questions, especially while you're junior. Even when you're like senior and stuff, you'll just have more specific questions when you're senior. Ask lots of questions, annoyed the heck out of people, had multiple mentors. So I just really worked the opportunity, if that makes sense. As far as the knowledge gap, what I would say Techtonica prepares you for is, one, the core skills, the social skills, how to be in corporate, and then also understanding the foundation. So being able to talk the talk. And what I mean by that is, when you're sitting in front of a code base of a large Fortune 500 company or whatever it is, like, can you navigate it? Can you talk about it? Can you say what it is that you don't understand? Or are you looking at the code like, so I felt very prepared is what I'm trying to say. Ooh, another question. What soft skills did you all have to grow in that you did not think you'd have to grow in? Ooh, for me, it was a lot of unlearning. I just spoke to Western ideologies of learning. In this program, it is not learning like school. You're not memorizing something in perfection and then spitting it back out. You are being exposed to something very quickly and then being able to show, okay, do you know how to refine that information and apply it to a project? And then maybe the next day you're doing something completely different and now you have to move on. You're like, wait, I barely spent time with that thing. I wanted to spend a whole week with it. What's going on? Like, no, it's being able to consume technical concepts fairly quickly and then understanding where to research and access them, because that's technology. That's what's going to happen on the job. So that was really hard for me because I was like a straight A student where I'm like, I need to show you I'm perfect at everything and get the best grades and blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
That same thing happened to me, where I wasn't used to not having something work perfectly the first time. Like, in software engineering, or just, whenever you're coding, very rarely will your first attempt at something be like working perfectly. And that was very hard for me to be like, that's okay. What is my next step? And also understanding when to ask for help and also how to ask for help. Um, Knowing how to ask questions in a way that will help the person try to help me better. Also figuring out how to find answers by myself. I know everyone's like, oh, just Google it, but very much all the answers are on Google. Pretty much in the beginning of your software engineering journey, when you're just barely learning JavaScript, I feel like most of the questions will have been asked on Stack Overflow at some point. Sometimes things get very complicated and very specific and they won't be there, but overall, being able to problem solve and apply previous knowledge to future problems was something that I didn't know that was going to happen, but it's a very good skill to have. And it's something that I'm really happy I've been able to grow into. We have another question. What role did your portfolio play in finding a new position? I feel like in past interviews I've had, I will always show my portfolio. Some interviewers will ask you to go through a line of code or a project that you are proud of and having your portfolio be current and updated with projects that you have completed is very, very important. And so my portfolio has saved me many times when someone in an interview is like, tell me about a time you were proud about something. I could pull it right up, share my screen and say, I made this nav bar, or, I made this specific feature. And that's always really satisfying and really important to have. If one has no experience in tech, just moved. If one has no experience in tech/coding, is there a recommendation or a course one would recommend prior? If this was also addressed in the first hour, again, my apologies. No worries. It would be that free code camp 113 problems. Again, as Daima has mentioned earlier, we take you from what is a variable all the way to a full stack app. So that would be the first place to start. And I think I could paste that here as well again. One moment.
While you're doing that, I'll jump to the next question. If selected to move forward with interviews, how do we best prepare? Come as you are, Michaela. I hope I am saying your name right. And if I am not, please correct me. Come as you are. What I mean is communicate. You're going to have to do it in the program. So come to the JavaScript study sessions. Come get to know us. Let us get to know you. Figure out, if our teaching or knowledge sharing style works for you. And figure out, find out I can't talk. Find out about the program, connect with some of the graduates, ask them questions. I don't think there's any one thing that you can do to study really hard to best enhance your chances of getting in. This isn't like the SATs getting into college. It really is about who you are as a person, in addition to your ability to build that technical understanding. You'll find that throughout our application process, as you move along, we are assessing more your ability to collaborate and your ability to learn more than can you come prepared knowing how to build a full stack app on day one. Your technical skills that you already have is less important than it is those other things that I'm mentioning. Does that make sense? Hopefully that helps. Let's see, what other questions? Will we complete the program and have a handful of projects to showcase if we have zero experience in project? Oh, yes, you will.
Every week.
Every week you will have a project that you are building. You will come out of the program with more than 6 full stack applications. And that's me being very conservative.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a final project where you spend several weeks on that. And that's more of a dedicated baby project where you really give it your all. But before that, you are building. Yes. Oh, ooh, looks like you got some collaboration from, is it Malia?
Malia.
Okay, Malia. Go collaborate with them, with her. Let's see. I'm not seeing no other questions. Anybody want to come off mute?
You guys both still working the full stack side of things, or did you guys change your tech? You guys in tech career, but did you guys change your I guess the path that you guys have taken?
In the past, so I worked at almost like a consulting company. So with the baseline of full stack JavaScript, I was able to work on teams that did React Native. So it was mobile app development. I've also worked a little bit in product management, but mainly full stack, and I really enjoyed mobile app development as well.
For me, I definitely have been bridging the gap between my grassroots experience in the past before I even jumped into tech, plus the new corporate space and full stack. So jumping right into tech, definitely did a bunch of full stack. And then I did like front end for a while and learned about a bunch of different frameworks. And then I did back end for a while because I was jumping back and forth between teams. And then I really jumped into tech ed because I really wanted to make sure like basically when I jumped into tech, y'all, my eyes popped wide open. I was like, wait a minute, not everybody else is experiencing this. So I jumped back into tech ed because I want people to experience the opportunities that come with, I can't say that enough. Anyway, so in tech ed, I've done like career counseling specific for parents and people in my intersectionalities, making sure that they understood how to remove the obstacles while also learning foundational tech stuff. So how to get your first interview, basically go from 0 to how to get your first interview. And now I'm doing, in this program, I'm doing more like teaching / program management / curriculum maintenance / it's all the hats that come with grassroots work, which I absolutely love because in corporate, my brain was getting bored because my brain always needs to be doing a bunch of stuff. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
What do you think the biggest hurdle was like in your like personal, like you don't have to get too deep into obviously details, but I just mean like, is there anything that you would recommend that generally comes up in people's personal lives that can like get in the way of things, and anything that you could like recommend to like keep in mind during the course? Because like life happens, and um sometimes people who've already gone through a course can be like, hey, like I had this thing happen, or this can happen, and this is how I dealt with it, or something like that.
Yeah, so
Go ahead, Gabby. I can talk about that for a long time.
yeah. I think so for my experience when I was in the cohort, the pandemic happened, but aside from that, like I hadn't been in a situation where I was learning so much at a very fast speed in a short amount of time. And so I found myself staying up super late, not taking care of myself and not sleeping, like forgetting to eat and stuff like that. And so burnout came for me very, very quickly. And so that's one of the things I try to emphasize whenever I can is take care of yourself, take the time to decompress after you learn. Sleep is very important. You'll get to a point where you'll dream about coding, which I read is a good thing. Apparently your brain's working overtime. One time my mom told me I was sleep talking through a for loop. So sleep is very important. But basically I would say definitely don't neglect yourself, take care of yourself throughout this process. It's very important. Burnout is very hard to like get over. It has lasting effects. And also communication very much is key. I know I've mentioned that a couple times throughout this, but if you are experiencing burnout or if there's something going on in your life, we've seen it all. We've all had situations where something horrible happens or something happens from one day to the next. Being able to communicate your situation only helps us help you, whether it be through giving you your own guided plan, or giving resources on how to assist with that issue. So yeah, that's what I would say.
All right, so I will speak to my piece of my specific situation, but first I want to call out some of the things that we've seen. We've seen people lose family members, lose friends, have health concerns. Some people ended up going through divorce. Some people went through like domestic violence issues. And sometimes it's not all like crazy negative life things. Sometimes it's like, hey, you know what? This isn't exactly what I thought it would be. I'm going to take a step away. And then we give you resources. Maybe you want to do design. We give you resources for design. And then you go that route. This is why the communication is so important. And especially if you are in the program with me, you will hear me all the time. I'm like, what's really going on? Are you okay? How can I help? As far as my particular situation, I had a lot of obstacles that were not normal, y'all. I was going through a divorce, domestic violence survivor. I was in a shelter transitioning to an apartment. My baby was like really little, and my daughter, I think she was in like kindergarten or something. And so during the program, I for me, communicating those things was very hard because I was also like working at one point, and I don't even like even talking about it. I'm like, how the heck? Um, but learning to be able to be vulnerable with those that genuinely want to help you. And I've seen a lot of programs and I've interviewed a lot of programs that say that they are set up to genuinely want you to succeed. This Techtonica, they genuinely want you to succeed. And that was really hard for me to consume and understand. And it ended up allowing me to open up into the space where I was able to get the help I needed. I think at one point the community like rallied for me to be able to have like a babysitter on the weekend, and I was able to study because I wasn't getting the comprehension I needed. It was just like very, very special community. And so being able to communicate the things that were hard for me so that I could get the level of support that I needed and pivot where I needed in the program. For example, I have a disability that requires me to go to medical appointments at least once or twice a week. And so I ended up missing like one or two meetings during the week, each week for a few months. And so that impacted participation. But if I didn't say anything, right, that could have affected my ability to stay in the program. Just like if I didn't communicate like well, I slowly communicated what was going on in my life, but if I had done it sooner, I would have gotten help a lot faster. Um, but because I slowly did that, my comprehension started waning. And so when I finally started communicating things, they're like, oh, well, this is what we can do. Why didn't you say something? Um, I want to make sure I answer the questions in the chat.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That was really vulnerable. Both of you really appreciate that. Thank you.
Welcome. Yeah, so most of those conversations, if it's not with me, it will be with Gabby. If it's not with Gabby, it will be with Bree. If it's not with Bree, it'll be with the founder, Michelle. It is with whomever you are comfortable with. And we'll always ask you, like, are you comfortable with me sharing this? If you say no, then we'll work around that. We'll speak in generalities. We'll make sure if maybe you need to deprioritize doing a quiz one day because you need to focus on getting some more one-to-one with a mentor in office hours or something, we're going to work to make that happen, and we'll communicate very candidly with you what those expectations are and how we want to help. Oh, y'all so excited in the chat. I love it. I recognize some of y'all on this call. I'm excited to see y'all again. Hey.
Any other questions?
Actually, I have one more question. You mentioned if one if one realizes that this might not be the program for them and one is more interested in design. I know that was a very that was just an example, but that you guys would give resources to that. I that was a very that I don't know, that was really sweet. And so I was wondering like do you guys notice if some people might thrive more in that area than another area, and would you guys make that recommendation if someone wasn't maybe uh doing as well as they thought they would, or that it might just not be the route for them? I'm kind of a pessimist sometimes, so I'm just asking. That kind of got that kind of uh really intrigued me when you mentioned that.
So the reason why we have data behind what you're doing is to kind of support these types of conversations. So maybe you're really good at data, or maybe you're really good at something on the front end or the program management side of things, but everything else is just like not hitting. So we'll have the data points to back up that candid conversation over the weeks. And if we see it trending, downward where it's not supposed to be, we'll talk about the different people that we can connect you to. And that's also why we engage people in the community that aren't just software engineers, because we want you to see the different routes. It's not just software engineering. Maybe you're into security engineering, which is a little different, but it's still technically software engineer. It depends on you. And so over the course of the program, we have candid conversations to talk about, one, your comprehension, two, where you want to go with things, and three, what you've been exposed to. That's also why you're being exposed to a wide array of things, because you're going to see very clearly, you're going to see very quickly what you are interested in and what you're not interested in. And so in your one-on-ones, we'll have those conversations, and usually there will be a formed thread along those constant conversations. And for some people, it happens really quickly. Some people, it happens really clearly over time. If somebody's offboarded, we always offer a connection and resources. So whether that's taking a course online or connecting you to somebody in the industry, we ask you those questions over those weeks ahead of that happening, so that we can understand, what is it that you are interested in. By the time we get to that point, we all know by the time you get to that point was what you are interested in.
I see not a question, but super excited for this opportunity. We're excited for y'all.
Come to the JavaScript study groups.
Please, please, please come. We have two more. We have two more sessions, please. It's on Tuesdays.
Yes. And y'all gotta come anyways after you submit the short form. So make sure you show up so you can get that mandatory thing knocked off.
It's required.
And at the end, I think we hold like 15 to 20 to 30 minutes of just Q&A about the application process. So have another one of these.
I will put on the chat our Eventbrite. We have two sessions coming up. One on the 8th, one on the 15th.
In the Eventbrite, there is an event that is like 20 or so bucks. It's I'm blanking on the name of it, forgive me, but it's like an intro
Intro
to
to
programming.
Programming. Don't sign up for
Yes.
that yet, because we're changing the date.
Yeah, don't do that one.
We're pushing it out because we didn't get as many signups as we want, and we want to make sure that everybody is able to collaborate and learn together and all that jazz. But if you are in the Slack channel, we'll announce when that is, or you could just keep an eye on when that updates for. But we should be updating it by tomorrow.
Perfect. Thank you.
Our study group is free. It will always be free. So just letting y'all know. It's a requirement.
Shameless plug for diversification in the grassroots space. We have those paid workshops because we want to diversify the income streams to support the scholarships that are going to help people get in the program, y'all. So if you know people interested in wanting to learn those things, tell them to go buy a ticket, because that could be your scholarship in the future that they're paying for. Yeah.
have a question. Did we go through the whole process before we know if we are accepted, or do applicants get dropped after certain steps? Yeah, so we communicate with you after, well, really every step. So after you fill out your short form, if you cannot make it to the next step, we will communicate with that. We will communicate that with you through email. All of that will be done through email. After you finish your long form, you'll get a confirmation email. If you are invited to the mandatory workshops that happen at the end of the month, you will get an email invitation for that. You will get emailed. So just putting that out there.
Yes, you will
At
get
every
email,
step.
yes or no. We will tell
Yes.
you at every point if you're
Yeah.
moving forward or not. I also want to call out one question. Someone said, what should you do to prepare for being in the program if there's like hurdles? One tool that really worked for me was scheduling things ahead of time. So like scheduling my hangout sessions. Yes, I scheduled my friends' sessions. I scheduled my self-care time. I scheduled my networking time. And I did that because the program is so fast-paced. You're learning so much. By the end of the day, you ain't gonna want to talk to nobody. You're just gonna want to go to bed. So schedule out your fun times. Oh, now you're getting all the questions.
Will applications close earlier than October 15th if there are already a lot of apps submitted before the deadline? No, it will close on October 15th at noon, regardless of how many applications we get. Do applications ever close early for higher than it? No, definitely not. There's one more in November 19th. Should we sign up for it or not yet? Are you referring to the study group night?
So the study
Yes.
groups, they should specifically call out which ones are for the application process. So make sure you're signing up for ones that are for the application process. If you're not sure what that is, email us.
Mhm.
If you're in the Slack channel, ask in the Slack channel. Okay.
And just FYI, October 8th and October 15th are for this application process. So that's what you should be looking at.
That said, if you want to go to the November one, go. Yeah, we'll be there hanging out with you. What if we did the one yesterday? Michaela, if you did the one yesterday and you
You're good.
already submitted your short form before yesterday and you went to that after, you're good. You just met the first requirement. Assuming you are eligible, you will keep moving forward. Gabby, let's invite everyone else's other questions into the Slack channel and to the JavaScript study sessions. I think we can move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. Just as a reminder, my bad. Our applications are open until October 15th. That means you should have your short form, you should have come to the study session, and you should have submitted your long form. If you have any questions throughout this whole process, please email us at info@techtonica.com, or feel free to join our Slack channel. The pre-application, we have a Slack channel specifically for pre-applicants, so you can ask questions there as well. Join us today to hashtag bridge the tech gap. So again, info@techtonica.org. We are at techtonica.org on like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. We are also, our website is techtonica.org. All the application information is on the apply page as well. If you have any questions there. And that is pretty much it. That concludes the session. Naima also mentioned if you'd like to stay aware of our application process updates via Slack, submit a request. Naima just posted a Google Docs forms on our chat. Submit a request and we will be able to add you to the Slack channel. This is where we frequently post updates about the process and you can virtually mingle with other applicants. Or again, you could email us at info@techtonica.org. That's it.
Thank y'all for coming. You doing the work that you need to figure out this is right for you. So good on